What up, Devs Like Us crew? This is your girl JB.
I'm Clarence.
And as you guys can see, Terrence is not here. He's away taking care of some personal business, but we're going to hold it down for him for this episode. For this episode today, we're going to be talking about burnout. What is it? How do we feel about it? What does it look like for various people? How do we try and combat it as we go through our day to day? And just really have a good conversation about it. And please let us know your thoughts after the episode so that, we can have that discussion down in our comments and things. And without further ado, let's hop into it. So I'm going to start with the official definition from the Mayo Clinic website. And it says job burnout is a special type of work related stress, a state of physical or emotional exhaustion that also involves a sense of reduced accomplishment and loss of personal identity. Burnout isn't a medical diagnosis. Some experts think that other conditions, such as depression, are behind burnout. Researchers point out that individual factors such as personality traits and family life influence who experiences job burnout. And so, with that definition, Clarence, how do you feel about burnout? How have you experienced it?
I feel like I have experienced burnout in a few times in my life. And one of which was probably like early on in my career when I didn't think that I guess I never really considered burnout because of like we think of kind of like the I guess the walk of life of high school, college, join the workforce. I had to say probably like maybe a year or two after I joined the workforce, like it was a moment in time where I really just felt like and it kind of crept up. At first, I thought it was kind of one of those things that just kind of happened out of the spur of the moment. But then I realized, it was something that it was like little small things that happened over time that I realized that I was at I guess, the different phases of burnout before I hit kind of like that all out where it's
Hit
just
the wall?
like, yes, yes, where, you wake up and it's just like, I don't want to do anything today. Like I don't want to get up out of bed. I don't even want to think about getting up out of bed, to say the least. But yeah, it was pretty rough. I just was like, do I go to a doctor? Like what what is this? Like
Yeah,
does
it's like,
this
what's wrong with me? Like, this isn't normal.
yeah. Do I recover with like a sick day? And I mean,
Yeah.
like, I don't know about you, but one thing is kind of like when you consider burnout, it's just like it's not like you call your manager and say, "Oh yeah, I got a bad cough," or I got a stomach ache. It's like, how do I explain that I just don't
Yeah.
want to do this?
Because it's like you feel like you can't just call and be like, yeah, I'm not feeling it today. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take the day.
Yeah.
Uh, I feel like we're moving more into that culture of,
Yes.
managers being like, you need that mental day. Go ahead and take that day.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I definitely get you with the like, waking up and it's just like, yeah, I don't want to do any of that stuff today.
Yeah.
And, as a person who is always on the go, like both of us, it's like it sucks because now you're laying there conflicted of like, I don't feel like doing it, but I know I need to.
Yes.
Or like you
Yes.
feel like you're completely obligated to it because they're paying you to be
Right.
there. And it's like, no, I give them my all when I'm there, and I have to be able to separate myself from it and things like that. Because I've experienced burnout quite a bit, and I think it's due to my previous lack of time management.
Mm.
With
Mm.
like,
That will hurt you too.
yeah, because like I said, always on the go when you're doing. So as I stated some episodes back, I'm also a basketball official.
Right.
So you're waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to, your day job as a
Yeah.
developer, which is taxing on your thoughts and things as you go through. And then you're leaving straight from there to go to, a basketball game
Yeah.
or multiple basketball games, which is also taxing on your mental because you're going through all the rules and things you have to think about while also like trying to process all the visual things that you're seeing, all these different things. And
And
then,
physically too. I mean,
yeah,
you're running up and down the court.
yeah. So like your physical exhaustion comes in with your mental exhaustion. And now we just have an overly exhausted person.
You like turn into a rock.
Exactly. And then you're not getting home till like 10 o'clock. And it's like, all right, let's eat, bid, and then we're going to do it all over again. And
Yeah,
when you're doing that on a constant basis, it's just like your body's just going to be like, all right, we've done this for like 6 days straight.
yeah,
We need a rest.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
for sure.
or we've done this for like, 3 weeks straight. And yeah, this ain't it. So
Yeah,
we're going to take this day and we're going to
do
figure out what
something
to
different.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so yeah, it sucks when you have those moments because you've you've been trained that like from a child up that if
yeah,
you work hard, you get all these great things and it's like go 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 go.
yeah,
And as an adult, you figure out that's not how my body is built. Like that's not what
yeah.
it's made for.
Yeah, even though
And
you've been like trained, you think like I guess think about grade school up until now, where it's kind of like you're going to school from 8 to or 7, whichever you all start,
Mhm,
but 7 or 8 till like 3 or 4 o'clock. I
mhm,
mean, we've been doing the same 9 to 5 for
your whole life.
yeah.
You've been trained for this. And even then, like we played sports in high
Yeah.
school. So it was like we started this burnout train super early
Yes.
and we never really learned how to combat it. Like,
Agreed.
and so what are some of the ways that you've learned to like figure it out and
I
just
think for me, it's still a question mark bubble. I don't think I've completely
you
figured
haven't figured
out
out
how.
that one
Yeah,
thing?
yeah. Because like one thing is that like I feel with certain levels of burnout, it could be cured with like maybe okay, like we already mentioned, kind of like your mental health day.
Mhm.
Maybe you don't need a whole day, maybe you just need a few hours, maybe you just need 5 minutes, so it just kind of depends on like the level of burnout. But for the most part, I think if you can kind of break that routine, because I genuinely think that routines cause the worst severe burnout, because like you mentioned, we're going through the same cycle 6 7 days a week. And I mean, some people, I mean, just to say, like, they've been in the same routine for the last 6 7 months, if not a majority
Years.
part of the year, yeah, of years. And so like the routine thing is just kind of like, okay, you're going in, going in, going in, and like you never get a chance to kind of step back and just kind of reflect, or just even like mentally not think about anything.
Yeah.
Um, so it just depends. I know, kind of like my go-to, and as you all know, I'm a big outdoors person. So a lot of the times when I feel burnout, I'm itching to do something outside. Whether it's going fishing, maybe take a walk, or even just kind of tinkering with something. And I know that sounds kind of counter, but what I'm trying to say, but like tinkering with something else compared to what I'm
Yeah.
paid to do, or what I'm required or asked to do. Just something to kind of put my mind on something else. How
Gives
about
you
you?
that balance. Um, so I've been, like you, trying out a bunch of different things, and I'm learning to disconnect.
Mm,
Uh, is probably the best way for me. Now, granted, of course, in this day and age, trying to disconnect
it's
is
hard.
it's really tough.
Yeah.
Like you and I, we both know that we've tried it. Like, you know what? I'm taking all the social medias and I'm going to delete the apps and
Right.
we've tried all the extremes. And I think it's more so like, slowly weaning yourself off type thing of
Yeah.
like, for this particular day of this week, I'm not going to, be on social media and things. I'm going to like go read for some hours. I'm going to go do something else creative, like, like you're tinkering, where it's channeling a different part of your mind.
Right.
And it's also a part of your happy place to
Agreed.
where you don't feel as though you don't feel that daunting feeling of requirements and things or I have to do this. It's just
Right.
like this is something I want to do, and I find joy in even if it's not in the moment, it's that finished product,
Sure.
which is also why we're developers because
Yeah.
a lot of times we find the joy at the end, you know.
Yeah.
we have those small wins in the process, but we find that joy at the very end where it's like, I did that.
Right.
That's my little baby. And so if we could find something to do where we get that same, serotonin and dopamine kick of like, this is it. And you and you don't have to feel as though it's a requirement or something. I feel like that's where it is. And so yeah, for me, it's like being able to disconnect myself from things and setting boundaries,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot better with. Because when you're in I say the lower ranks, like junior developer type things, you tend to be like, I want to, do all the things. Like if someone asks me to do something, I have to do it because I want to move up and I want to be great.
Right.
And it's like you don't have to you don't have to be that person. Like, it's okay to tell people no. And I'm getting into that phase of my career where it's like, yeah, I got a lot on my plate. I don't think I could take on this new task because
Yeah.
I know that it's going to lead to a quicker burnout than, my usual or something of that nature. And yeah, I'm still learning, still trying to figure it all out.
Makes
Um,
sense.
so
And
yeah,
you brought up two. I think it was multiple, but there are two things that you said that I think that like really contribute to burnout, like or at least from what I've seen. Is one is not being able to disconnect,
hmm
because I don't know about you, and I try so hard. A good friend of mine has burned me so many times for doing this too, but I try not to compare. But I think in the age of social media and just being connected with a variety of people, not just inside your own network, but people that you just kind of admire or look, kind of up to, but like you see them in the social media aspect, and I know it's an unrealistic thing in some cases,
they
but
doing their
they're
thing.
always doing something. Yeah, they're on it, constantly on the go. Here you are, you're scrolling, looking, and you're like, oh, such and such is in such
They
certain
out
place.
there again.
Yeah, and you're like, I don't even feel like getting up from the couch, but I feel like I need to go do something.
But then we also have to think about it. Like we do a lot of things that we just don't post.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. That's true.
Like you don't post every time you go out and go fishing.
That's true. That's
You
true.
don't go post every time that you're, out maxing and relaxing, having your little cigar.
That's true.
You
That's
know,
true.
and so it's one of those things of like, on the flip side of that, how exhausting could it be where it's like I have to document every part of my life and
Yeah,
yeah,
agreed.
and
Agreed.
so I really feel like it's one of those things of finding the balance
Yeah,
of things like that, and I also feel like for like right now, a lot of focus is on developers and burnout,
yeah.
but burnout exists with almost any and everyone.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because just because I feel as though development is harder than like the HR person's job, I don't know how many pieces of paperwork that person has had to go through and things like that. That's mentally draining, just sitting
Yeah,
there looking at papers. And so I feel like we all are going through it, and I also feel like this day and age, it's more prevalent than it may have been years ago because you have access to everything you need for work at any
agreed.
given time.
Agreed. Agreed.
Whereas years ago, it was like, all right, I'm gonna go into the office and I'm gonna do my little 9 to 5, and then I'm gonna
And come
leave.
on. Yeah. And
I'm
some
gonna
people
go
don't
home to
even
my
do that.
family.
They're still
Yeah,
working.
yeah, I'm gonna go home to my family. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna see the kids, see the wife, husband, all these things. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like, all right, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna, have dinner with the family, and I'm gonna go off into my office and be by myself, and I'm gonna work some more. And you're not turning it off,
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure.
and it sucks at times. So yeah,
That's true. And I think too, one thing. So one of the reasons I know, and it's a good thing we brought up this topic, because I feel like it's everywhere now.
yeah,
Been on the news. Influencers that you may, follow, they're, sharing that their experience in burnout or some type of, like just a mental kind of, I guess you
block.
call it just a mental block, or mental, just you've hit that mental capacity. Now it's like, okay, I need to kind of do something else, because not, I guess it was like probably around spring. So I love watching vlogs, as you know, especially outdoor vlogs. And one of the fishing YouTubers that I watch, he posted a video of him just basically saying, he's not into it. He's like, just hit that wall. He's hit that wall and it's just not fun anymore. And, when you first hear that, you think about like you want if you have something like us as developers, you love developing, you love to like you said see that end product, but no matter how much you love it, it just shows that like eventually, you're going to hit that wall to a point where it's like even the simplest task you don't even want
Yeah.
to do. It's like, oh, I just need to print this to a table, and
I
it's
gotta print this
like,
thing again.
yeah, I don't know how long it may take you, but that 5 minute task now, you stretch it out for weeks,
Yeah.
until a point where it's like, oh, I should have did that, weeks ago, or I should have did that days ago. I would have been done with this by now. And so, yeah, I think anything that you do on a constant basis, no matter
Or
the
just too
field,
much of.
yeah, if it's taxing you, it's going to be a point where you just don't want to do anything at all.
Yeah, like we're all in a go 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 mode that we
Mm.
don't take the time to really understand and find ourselves and say, okay, what's the thing that makes me happy and I don't feel like it's super taxing on me that I can
Yeah,
do to like, balance myself out. If I do it for like 1 day a week or 30 minutes a week,
yeah,
just that one thing that helps me like really like counter everything else I have going on. Some people do like morning meditations or midday meditations to really just bring themselves back down to that calm or what have you. Some people go on like extensive bike rides once a week
right.
or running, hiking. And it's just a matter of us really finding that balance of things that we really care about and just doing it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of times where we're like, oh, I really want, and both of us, we're like terrible at this. We're like, I should really get back outside and go for a hike. And next week comes around, I should really get back outside and take a hike.
Yeah,
3 weeks
exactly.
roll around, I should really get out there. And then when we do it, we're like, why haven't I been out here doing this? Because I enjoy it.
I
Um,
needed that.
right. And it's like, it's just that reset that you need to just say, all right, now we can get back into it. We can go.
Yeah, yeah,
And it doesn't have to be some super long, planned out thing that you're doing. It's just a matter of just take the rest.
yeah. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Take that week off. Take that day. Go ahead and use that sick day. Don't be afraid to say you just don't want to do it. You
I'm an
can't do
advocate
it.
for mental health days.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it's like if I really wake up and I feel as though I I know I can do it,
mm,
but number one, I won't be able to give my all because of
right.
the fact that my body is just like, no. Or if my body is just like, absolutely not, I don't care what you have to do today, like, cancel it. We're not
Yeah,
doing it. I'm like, all right, well, let me send this message to my boss. Hey, you know, today's just not one of those days. And I'll be like, hey, you mind if I take today? And he'll give me the yay or nay. And luckily I have a supervisor who's like a big advocate of like taking care of your mental. So he'll be like,
right.
if you need it, sure. Now, granted, don't be the person who abuses it. And it's
Yeah.
like,
See, that's
let's take the
that's
day.
me. I'm not abusing it, but like it's starting to come more to terms to use mental health days. And I
Yes.
think one of the reasons why I never took them as many times as I wanted to is because I always feared because I feel like sometimes I get into a burnout mode where I literally want a week. The one day would be nice,
It's
and don't
called
get me
vacation,
wrong. Yeah,
Clarence.
I know.
And take them.
I know. But my fear is always, I wake up that one day and say, yeah, this is not it. Then I wake up that next day, yeah, that's not it. I hit that 3 day and it's like, oh, I'm gonna need a doctor's note after this. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. If you do need those days, take those days. But I think that's one of my things. Is just like sometimes I feel like it'll become the news cycle. It's like yesterday was so relaxing. I
Yeah.
didn't know I needed it that much. I think I could use one more.
I could do another one. Let's do another one. Yes, those are vacation days,
Yeah,
and we need to take them
yeah,
because you and I and T Man have all just kind of been, really on the go, and we
yeah,
haven't, taken that time to be like, you know what, I'm gonna do a vacation. It's gonna be
yeah,
amazing. Like, I'm gonna have time in my life, do, things I haven't done before or haven't done in a long time, and it's gonna be great.
That's true. That's true.
And it gives you that mental reset because while you're on vacation, don't even think about work. Don't even look at it.
Yeah.
All that. Just go.
One other
Uh,
important thing to note too, though, when you take those days, is maybe think about is that like, another, and I guess don't want to go back, but just definitely want to bring it up is that another form of being burned out is that like you take those vacation days and you still end up doing stuff around the house that now you didn't even get a chance to like take a break. So when we
yeah.
say take those vacation days, we mean like take a few days a week or whatever to just go someplace, or even you could do. I mean, you
Do
could
a
relax at
staycation.
home. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Do a
Uh,
staycation.
like I've been looking at. Let me go to like some local bed and breakfast where it's like only a 20-30 minute drive, but it gives me a chance to be outside of my normal environment
Yeah,
where my mind's constantly roaming of, oh yeah, I got to do this, I got to do this. If you're not here, you can
yeah,
kind of separate yourself from it, and you're not at work, so it's like you have nothing else to do. Like nothing is calling you right now, so just be
right.
in the moment, enjoy it, and you know just do whatever it is you wanted to do. Even if it's like, I don't know what I want to do today. Well, how about we just have a yes day
Yeah,
where it's like, let me just go through and randomly pick some things and, yep, that's what I'm doing today. And flip a coin, do whatever it is to get yourself that new experience that gives you that refreshment.
right.
Uh,
Agreed.
but I mean, like another way for us to kind of combat it, because like I said earlier, sometimes we just get in the go 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 mode and we don't
Yeah,
see it until it's too late
it
and you
hits
feel
you.
lost.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so having a I like to call it a burnout buddy, but another way to look at it is an accountability partner.
Agree.
To say, you know what, hey, just checking in on you. Have you taken that mental day that you need, or taken that mental moment that you need this week, to, really bring yourself back down, bring yourself to calm, and, how other people say it, zen, uh,
Yeah,
and things like that. Because I feel like if you have that buddy, you guys can lean on each other a lot more to say, all right, I've seen, like, we've talked almost every day this week, and you've said nothing about resting. It's just been
right,
you're on the move. So, the next couple days, one of those days, I want you to pick a day where you just like have take at least an hour to do like nothing
right.
or something small, type of thing. And yeah,
I think one thing too to say though to that is that like having that accountability partner, like we talk a lot, so it's kind of like one thing I would definitely suggest to anybody that's taught your friends, your colleagues, whatever, start that conversation with how are you, and then
yes,
like you get a feel for like what's going on, you can make that suggestion, like you said, just have you taken that day or have you had a chance to rest. I have a good friend now, coworker now, and he's always on the go. And so like when he gets a chance to kind of take a break, I'm like, dude, take a break. Like don't look at anything. Don't, like relax. Like, you really need to take this time because if not, like most people can I mean, we're at a point in age where we're at that sense of maturity where like I've experienced it, maybe not severe as others, but to a point like you could kind of see like you're going to hit
yeah.
and it's going to be rock bottom and it's going to
Hmm.
be a point where I mean you can recover but it might take even longer, so
Your
you know
body's giving out
yep,
and all these different things.
yep, because if anything, if you don't have an actual accountability partner, your body is going to be an accountability partner when it just says
Hmm.
this is the day.
Yeah. Your legs gonna feel heavy, arms heavy, and it's just like, all right, I guess I'm just laying here in the bed today, huh? My body done bedridden me.
Yeah,
But yeah, and even with having that burnout buddy, one thing I do like about it is, um, a lot of times, and I'm learning to be better at this. We don't give ourselves the same grace that we give other people, and so we're like what you said with your friend, where you're just like, hey man, maybe you should take that day, take that time. How often do you actually say that to yourself?
right, right,
And
right.
so having that accountability buddy, they're going to call you out on it, but you also have to be that person for them because they might not be extending themselves that same grace.
Agree.
But like I said, I'm trying to be better about it. Where it's like, all right, Jazz, you've been pushing for quite a bit, and so mm,
You know,
let's
I
slow
missed
down.
the cue too. That was definitely a moment.
Extend yourself that grace.
I think I was mid coffee and I was like, "Oh man, she just dropped a mic on this."
I can't rush to put the coffee down.
But yeah, I definitely would agree. You definitely got to self reflect on, your own. And I mean, it's okay. I mean, people used to say you don't talk to yourself, but it's okay to talk to yourself because sometimes that's the only person that's going to understand you.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't get too far, I would say, because there's a lot of times we really have to talk yourself through things.
Yeah.
Like I'm learning to really talk myself through, like, hey, that was a moment where, we could have, set this boundary of like, hey, I can get with you in a second after, I work through this thing that I'm working on at work. Because remember, like, like some episodes ago, we were talking about those interruptions that happen at work where someone's just like,
Yeah.
hey, I have this, and it's like, give me a second, I'm gonna work through this thing. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it's all about setting those boundaries not only with other people but with yourself to say,
Agree.
all right, Jazz, we're going to do this, and that's it. That's all we're going to do during this time frame. No exceptions.
Yeah,
um,
for sure.
and really
Yeah.
following through.
Yeah, because I think like the biggest thing is that like one thing that really I guess adds to burnout is just that like we all beat ourselves up when we're just feeling like we're not doing enough, we're not doing what we expected to do or whatnot. But in reality, a lot of times with the self reflection, you'll look back and realize that you are doing a lot. You got even if it's not as glamorous as what somebody else might be doing as far as like doing being different places and being a part of different groups and stuff like that, your normal day to day could be just as taxing. Where it's like if you got a lot of responsibilities on your plate, if you got a house, you got kids, family,
Hmm.
that's one of your friends and stuff like that. So when you go in and day out, you're we're all probably going what 10 or 12 hours at if not more than that, each day. You're going to hit a point where you're just like, I need to check on myself. And I
Yes,
need to, I need to push back. Like you said, I need to learn to
that
say
was your
no. Yeah.
moment.
There we go. We're two for two here. But as a chance, you definitely have to reflect for yourself to say, okay, I need this for me because, things, not just people, but things will just keep pulling at you and pulling at you and pulling at you to a point where, like I said, you don't want to get to a point where you just hit rock bottom because it'll take even longer to
Mhm.
recover from that than it would to just, take that day or that hour, even that 5 minutes.
Yes.
So, but
And I think there we have it.
yeah,
Like,
we unpacked a lot.
be your own advocate, extend yourself that grace, and
Yes.
find your burnout buddy. That's it. That's the episode.
Yeah.
Uh,
And too, one last thing before I forget, I always got my one more thing. We gotta make that a segment.
yeah.
But one thing too that I would note, when it comes to burnout, sometimes, not all the times, but sometimes I feel like when you reach burnout, a lot of time, I keep saying a lot, but sometimes that is a moment of basically it's time for a change. I
Mhm.
know we didn't talk about this, huh?
Your check engine light.
Oh yeah, yeah for sure. Yeah, yeah. Or that that flat tire to slow you down.
Let's refill.
Sometimes it's a meaning for change. If you've been doing something for X amount of years or X amount of months, and you just don't see an end to it, it might be time for just a new new pasture, a new set of green grass. What they say, the grass on the other side of the fence isn't always greener, but it might be a time to see if there's greener grass for you, because it could be a whole mental shift that you need in
Yeah.
order to really solve your burnout. Because I think sometimes too, burnout comes from just if you're in a situation or environment that's just completely toxic,
Mm-hmm.
You might need that burnout to say, okay, I need to, I need this time to reflect. I need this time to really evaluate what do I want for myself and what do I
Yes.
need to do to make those changes to be happier, and avoid, future burnouts, or maybe not as severe as one you might be in.
Ooh, we sir, you dropping gems. And on that note, that's it. That's the show. Um, and so, guys, thank you guys for taking the time to listen to us today. And hopefully, T Man will be able to be back with us for our next episode. If you like this episode or if you have more to add, please like, comment. Let's really get that interaction going. Visit us on the Instagram page, the website, all of those things. And please make sure you ring that bell and subscribe so you can get those post notifications when we do them. And without further ado, I'm JB.
I'm Clarence. Thank you all for listening.
Peace.